Hello and welcome to the Suitcase of Poetry. I'm Srilata, a Chennai-based poet, and this is Nithy, a Dublin-based poet. Both of us write in English. In the course of our discussions as part of this project, we thought that we should place our poems in conversation with each other, and also we decided to translate our poems into our respective languages, Tamil and Lingala. Nithy will now read from her poem in English, The City Moves. Over to you, Nithy.
Thank you, Srilata. The City Moves is a poem I wrote about immigrating into a city and trying to find yourself. But I think the poem pretty much explains itself. It's called The City Move. My neighborhood is mounted like a segment of a Lego town. Block upon block, sleek edges, heads in midair. The skin of the buildings transparent. We carton to hide the sequels of our bad diets. The small towns within the towns, by those who long for home, or find themselves here somehow because the city moves. Columba died too, queue on wires, stare at the metropolis, pretend it's a bus cage, but it's a city I try to catch up with, to keep up with the undergo crowd, the saxophone, buskers smooth on Grafton Street, the excessive pints, spews. We lie to ourselves, it is a phase to pass to have our youth fulfilled. Then jam toast seek the day that follows, having missed the early hours, the low lights, the train that brings the out to the grail. A window seat, please, to see how far we got. It goes by fast. I tell it to slow down. I am from the countries, but a city waits for no one.
Thank you so much, Nithy, for that really amazing poem. Reading and translating the poem was a really special thing for more reasons than one. The poem about settling into place, into a neighborhood that unsettles you, is in itself a really unsettling one with multiple meanings. Translating it into Tamil, a language that's spoken in the southern Indian state of Tamilnadu and in Sri Lanka, was both challenging as well as enjoyable. I had to turn to my mother Vatsala, a Tamil poet herself, in order to help me through the process, and my mother really loved the poem. This is the first time I'm actually translating something into Tamil, for even though it's my mother tongue and I speak it fluently, I don't write in it. I write only in English. Nagaram Nagargirathu, translated by Srilata and Vatsala. எனது வசிப்பிடத்தில் வீடுகள் ஒரு லெகோ நகரத்தின் பகுதி போல் எழுப்பப்பட்டுள்ளன. துண்டு மேல் பொருத்தப்பட்ட லெகோ துண்டு போல். பிசிறில்லா விளிம்புகள். நடுநடுவே தலை தூக்கும் உயர் துண்டுகள். ஒளி ஊடுருவும் கட்டிடங்களின் தோல் திரை சிலைகளை தொங்க விடுகிறோம். இவை விழுங்கியுள்ள நற்சுழலை மறைக்க நகரங்களுக்குள் உருவாகப்பட்ட சிறிய நகரங்களாக சைனா டவுன் போன்ற பெயர்களுடன் தங்களுக்கு என ஒரு இருப்பிடத்திற்காக ஏங்குபவர்களால், ஆனால் எப்படி என்று தெரியாமல் இங்கு வந்து சேர்ந்து விட்டனர். நகரம் நகர்கிறது. அதனால் கொலம்பிடே பறவைகள் அமர்ந்துகின்றன கம்பிகளில் வரிசையாக. பெருநகரத்தை ஊற்று நோக்கி கொண்டு. இது ஒரு காடு என நம்புவதை போல் பாசாங்கு செய்கின்றன. ஆனால் இது நான் பிடிக்க முயன்ற நகரம். பரபரப்பு கூட்டத்துடன் அணிவகுப்பு கிராஃப்டன் தெருவின் மிருதுவான சாக்சோபோனில் தெருப்பாடகரின் மெல்லிய இசை. அதிகப்படியான பைன்ஸ் மற்றும் ஸ்பியூஸ். நமக்கு நாமே பொய் சொல்கிறோம். நமது இளமை நிறைவடைய இது ஒரு கட்டமாகும். ஜாம் டோஸ்ட், அடுத்த நாள் உடம்பு சரியில்லை. அதிகாலை நேரத்தில் தவறிவிட்டால் குறைந்த விளக்குகள். ஹவுதுக்கு செல்லும் ரயிலையும் எனது இலக்கை நோக்கி செல்வேன். தயவு செய்து ஒரு ஜன்னல் இருக்கை தாருங்கள். நாங்கள் எவ்வளவு தூரம் வந்திருக்கிறோம் என்பதை பார்க்க. எல்லாம் வேகமாக என்னை தாண்டி செல்கின்றன. நான் அடனிடம் வேகத்தை குறைக்க சொல்கின்றேன். நான் கிராமத்தை சேர்ந்தவள் என்கிறேன். ஆனால் நகரம் யாருக்கும் காத்திருப்பதில்லை. Over to you, Nithy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Srilata, for that. Thank you. And yes, Srilata has also written a poem in response of that, which I have also translated into my mother tongue, which is Lingala. But first off, we're going to hear Srilata read her beautiful poem. Back to you.
Yeah, thank you. As Nithy said, this poem, Fresh Off the Kanpur Train, was written in response to the city moves. And as I was reading the poem, I realized that I was a migrant too, in a sense. The poem is about moving at the age of 5 from the northern Indian city of Kanpur, where Hindi is spoken, to the south Indian city of Chennai, where Tamil is spoken, but where schools run by the central government offer Hindi as a second language. And there is a hierarchy of languages in India, as you can imagine. And Hindi is often seen as the more powerful language in some ways. It carries greater currency. So I was moving between languages and I was moving to another country, but I was holding on to the language that I had learned in Kanpur. So it's a poem about that partly. Fresh off the Kanpur train. I was 5 when we moved, Amma and I, from Kanpur to Chennai, sensibly south of the Vindhyas. Chennai is a deadly safe city, best for single women, they all said. It took us 2 whole days and 1 long night on the Rapti Sagar, its ladies' compartment charged with safely holding the 2 of us, and 4 women in Gungat who moved gracefully, delicately, not once bumping into us, and the 2 of us with our awkward movements, bumping into almost everything. When we got off at Madras Central, the Rapti Sagar was long out of water, and our sweaty bodies walked straight into the salty air of the deadly safe city, best for single women. 2 weeks later, the principal of the only school in the neighborhood, quite unmindful of my history, talked over my head to Amma in a mix of Hindi and English. The standard of Hindi in this school is quite high. Aapki ladki manage kar legi? Will your daughter manage? The story goes that I made Amma proud by reciting all the numbers in Hindi. 1, 2, 3. That the principal, her eyes popping, said, this time sticking to English alone. But I thought you were Tamilians. Where did you learn Hindi? And that I stood there uncomprehending, fresh off the Kanpur train. Over to you, Nithy, now for the Lingala translation. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your beautiful poem, Srilata. Yes, I have translated the poem in Lingala. And like Srilata, even though I speak my native tongue fluently, I have never written in it. And English is the only language that I am comfortable writing in all the 4 languages which I speak. So I had the pleasure of translating Srilata's beautiful poem, mostly because the style of it I found very fitting to the Congolese storytelling style. The way it flows, it's from the beginning to the end, you're just telling a story. So in that way, it was very fitting for Lingala. It made it easier to translate. But the poem has also revealed the challenges I had, the limitations, I have to say, I did not know I had with Lingala, but I have discovered that I had when I tried to translate, I was lacking words. I had to Google certain stuff in order to complete the translation. So in a way, I think the whole experience has impacted me in a positive way. Having to, I think I'm just a little bit more interested in the Lingala as well, and I will spend more time trying to get back those words that I have lost over the years. So anyways, Srilanta's beautiful poem in Lingala. Nazalaki na mbula mitano tangu tolongwaki ama na ngai tolongwe l'empire tokei Chennai seed ya Vendias. Chennai ezali mboka moko malamu mingi mpona basi ndenge sango ekenda. Ezwaki biso mikolo mibale na butu moko ya molai na rapti zagar esika batiaki basi tokotaki biso mibale na basi minei na Gugad. Pasi yango na botamboleli ya malembe pe bonzenga penza atambala moko te batuta eloko. Tangu tokiti na Madras Central, Rashi Zagar ezalaki mwa mosika na mai. Nzoto na biso na motoki ezwi mwa mopepe ya mboka ya sika oyo ekenda sango, mboka ya malamu mpona basi. Poso mibale eleki. Mokonzi ya kelasi moko oyo kaka ezalaki na quartier, azalaki na bozangi koyeba esika na utaki. Asololi na ama likolo ya mutu na ngai. Na monoko ya Hindu esangana na anglais. Ayebisi ye, niveau ya Hindu na kelasi oyo eza likolo. Eske mwana na yo akokoka? Balobaki ke mokolo wana napesaka ama lokumu. Na yanolaka na kotanga na Hindu. Moko, mibale, misato. Mokonzi ya kelasi miso ebimaki na kokamwa. Mbala oyo alobi kaka na anglais. Nga nakanisaki oloba kaka Tamil. Oyekola Hindu wapi? Natelemaki kaka koyoka. Ngai mowuta oyo wayaki na train ya Kampir. Thank you, Srilata, for your beautiful poem.
Yeah, thank you. Also, this poem actually, sounds so much lovelier in Lingala. Yeah, so, and I felt like I was transported to another place without a suitcase. And I was thinking about it, Nithy, when you just read it, when you read the translation, that translation is really an act of kind attention, and it's perhaps the best kind of collaboration.
It is.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm glad we decided to do this as part of this project. Right. Yeah, so
Exactly. Yeah. Like I was saying, your poem is very fitting for the Congolese story time. So I think I might bring it home to my mom and my people to listen to it as well. Because it's perfect. It's just the perfect Congolese storytelling form. And yeah, the beauty of it really to be a part of all of this and what we have discovered. I think we have learned a lot of stuff that we didn't know we needed to in the process, especially about the mother tongue. Those of us that are migrants and we had to pick up a second language, we speak multiple languages, and I think this whole process of having to write in two different languages it brought a lot that we didn't know about. So thank you for the whole experience.
yes, thank you so much. And it's interesting that the point you made about the Congolese storytelling tradition, because I'm thinking, that in Tamil too, it is there is a tradition of narrative storytelling, poetry, and so on. It's a storytelling culture, and I think that I have actually perhaps taken it into my writing in English, not really being quite aware of it as I. So it sort of brought home to me this. I sort of now I've begun to, I think, reflect on what I'm doing in that poem. So thank you for that reading of it. Well, I guess like all good things, this too must kind of come to an end. So to the audience and on behalf of Nithy and myself, thank you for joining us, and also a very big thank you to the Suitcase of Poetry project for enabling this. Really hope you enjoyed this. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thanks.